Angry guy here, and women get furious when they can't intimidate men. Women get furious when they can't intimidate men. Let's go ahead and just jump right into the video.
So we have 7194. 7194. You're up.
Hello?
Yo, what's up, caller?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, guys?
Yo.
Okay, hey, so I just got into this situation the other day. I was messing with this broad, and we was and she told me to put a baby in her. So I just like got up and I left out of my room, and then I told her to leave. And she started going crazy, bro. She was talking about, I'm gonna tell people that you raped me and all this shit.
Whoa.
And she said she was gonna call the police. Yeah, bro. She said she was gonna call the police on me and shit. So I instantly started recording, and I just said everything in my room was said. Hey, you look dumb right now. Get out. Get out of my place. So it took her like 10 fucking minutes to get out, bro. And then like I kind of slipped up at the end because she did push me. So I just threw the out my house. So she called the police, and the police came, and I just told them what happened, and he was just like, hey, man, if you're dealing with a chick like that, just run. Don't have her come to your house no more. So, I mean, the police was cool, and I still got the shit on video.
All right, well, just keep that footage with you, bro, because that might be your saving grace from the craziness. Mm-hmm. And just, I mean, if you're really worried about it, I'll consult with an attorney, get ahead of this, just in case she tries to do something in the future. Yeah. But
caller.
But yeah, bro.
This is so simple because.
Yeah. But nigga, why are you fucking making them feel like shit? Like you can't do that.
Yeah,
bro.
you can't do that, bro.
Like,
dude,
yo.
This could have been avoided so easily. This is simple.
No, like she was a side piece. You know, she a side piece. She keeps like saying little shit to make me think that she's really into me. But I keep telling her I just want to. She knows that shit.
But yeah, bro, look. You gotta have a little bit of common sense though. Like being like this guy where you shit on the women right after you gotta remember, bro, women are super vulnerable after they hook up with you and emotional. So you don't want to sit there and like make them feel like, you know, like hoes. Because when you do that, what ends up happening is she's like, oh, I feel used, I feel like shit. So what she's gonna do a lot of the time, she's gonna go ahead and take that anger out on you through other means. It could be physical, it could be violent, it could be her going to the police and lying on you. So don't make women feel like whores after you hook up with them, bro, because a lot of times they'll come up with fake allegations and say, oh, well, I didn't mean to hook up with you, or they'll try to retroactively withdraw consent. So you got to protect yourself and be intelligent here, bro. This is chess, not checkers.
And also, you lost frame, bro.
I got you.
Because holding frame means that, okay, ultimately she said something weird to you, which you said put a baby in me. That's kind of weird, not gonna lie. At that point, she's like, you know what? Oh yeah, I busted, but you know what? I gotta go to work. Could you hello? I gotta get ready for work. And at that point, it's kind of like, all right. She's like, all right, he busted, whatever. You know, it's done. I'll leave. You kind of said to her, just get the fuck out. And I mean, after sex, it's kind of like what Myron said.
Yeah, she's in a really vulnerable state, bro. And then the fact that you've already been smashing her and dogging her out, like, you know, what you basically did was you confirmed what she was hoping wasn't going on. Because, you know, women are delusional, and if you're smart, you can use that to your advantage. She thought that there could be something there. And I'm not telling you to, you know, sell the dream and all that, but clearly you were doing something that had her invested in you, and then you went ahead and destroyed that dream right after smashing her when she's at a vulnerable point. So, you know, of course she's going to respond and say some dumb shit like, I'm going to go ahead and make a false allegation against you. And women know that they have that ace up their sleeve, bro. So I'm glad that you recorded it.
Yeah, that was good.
You know, make sure that you document all your conversations where or whatever, God forbid something happened. But, bro, just be more intelligent next time and, like, don't shit on chicks like that right after you hook up with them, man.
Okay, I got something to say real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
You, Myron, you can't compete with Fresh when it comes to waves. This here is coarse, bro. You're mixed. All you gotta do is put hot water in your shit, brush your hair, put a do-rag on, and that's it.
Nah, man, it ain't that simple, bro.
Like, me and Fresh got the same hair.
Nah,
bro.
You gotta
do extra shit.
The coarser your hair is, bro, the easier it is to get waves.
Yo,
well,
bro.
you had it before. That's another thing. Once
Yeah.
you already get
Nigga, I had
Yo,
waves.
you don't have it for a while.
Yo, I had them
Just
15 years
caller.
ago, bro.
Get it
15
back.
years ago.
Caller, nigga using a do-rag.
15 years ago,
Nigga
bro.
using a brush 24/7. I brush every now and then out the shower. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys. Anyway, so you guys get the gist of things, right? It's pretty crazy right now what's happening. Women are furious, men are rejecting them. The very moment that they realize that a guy does not care, he's not interested, after they've been intimate or he just wants to be intimate, they will basically say anything. They will basically, pull out their card that they can play and say, "Hey, he did something. I'm going to get the authorities on the phone. I'm going to reach out to them. I'm going to say that, you did something," and they can retroactively withdraw consent, and it's hard. It's hard because when that happens, what are you going to do? In this case, this guy was extremely lucky because the officers that arrived on the scene, they listened to the situation and they were able to understand what was happening. Also, he had evidence, so he was able to go ahead and record all the details. But as a man, you have to be realistic and understand that when you're messing around in Western society, and it's not just Western society, it's everywhere, but Western society especially, like I'll tell you right now, when I was overseas, it was so different. This is one thing that was so different, and it's addictive. When you're overseas, even though you're not in your own country, and there are other things you have to worry about, because you always have to worry about people trying to rip you off or take advantage of you. The one thing I never really worried about was when it came to hooking up. I never really worried about, like, okay, some girl is gonna say something, and and then I can end up in trouble. I never worried about that so much. Like, I felt very comfortable in another country because it's like they don't have, they have power, but they don't have that amount of power that they have in Western society, where they can just have you hauled out and taken away just like that. It's strange. It's very, very strange, but that's kind of how it is. And you don't you really feel it. You really feel it because in countries that are developing, it's different. In Western society, Western society, women rule Western society. They absolutely do, and they know it. I mean, if you look at what's happening with certain people right now, um, you know, and you probably know who I'm hinting at. It's like all they have to do is point and click, and that's the end of it. You lose your income, you become, you're deplatformed, you lose your voice, and I mean, you lose your job. It's very, very, it happens instantly, and it doesn't matter if it's true or not. You know, I mean, look at what happened to what's his name, Harmon. The guy, the Rick and Morty creator. There were some things that were said about him, that he did things, and he lost his job. He lost both of his jobs. He had a series on Hulu, and then he was the voice of Rick and Morty. And what ends up happening? He gets fired, and then after that he's cleared of all. He's cleared of everything. An investigation is done. He's cleared entirely, but he doesn't get his job back with Adult Swim. He doesn't get his job back with Hulu, and he can't work in Hollywood anymore. He can no longer work, even though he was fully cleared. Everything that was said about him, he was fully cleared by the authorities. He can no longer work. His job has been taken away. His name is tarnished forever, and that's the end of it, right? And if you know what's happened with our friend Mr. Brand, that runs that, he's been demonetized. They're pushing to have him deplatformed. Members of Parliament literally reached out to Rumble and said, "Hey," they asked Rumble if he's still making money, and they asked that it be taken away. I mean, it's absolute insanity what's happening right now, and this just doesn't happen to famous guys. It's happening to the normal guy, to normal guys. Look at this guy, and people are like, "Oh, well, he dissed her." Women are emotional, but that's ridiculous. They have to be responsible and be adults as well. He was very, very clear with her. Like, he was very, very clear. He made it very clear that he did not want to have a relationship, and that this was just it was just about the intimacy in that moment, and that was all. And she began saying things that she wanted to, have a child with him, and it was extraordinarily weird. and he basically shut it down at that point. And and then she turned around and said, "Okay, here's what I can do. Here's what I'm going to do to you, and I'm basically going to say this because she could retroactively withdraw consent at any time." And the cops knew exactly what happened. What happened? He, thankfully he started recording. But I mean, guys, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And this happens to guys every single day. And in many cases, a lot of the times, it doesn't work out like that. All right, and your name, you're ruined forever. You lose your job, you lose your good name, you lose your future. A lot of these guys end up with nowhere to live, and and they can never get a job again because they Google your name, and even though it didn't even though there's no charges against you, there's still something on the internet, and it's like, oh well, this he was accused of doing so and so. Okay, yeah, we're not going to deal with you. That's it. You're done forever. And the women who do this, they have no sympathy or empathy. In fact, they're somewhere laughing and kicking up their heels, knowing that they did this, because it makes them feel all powerful. And there's guys, they've been doing this for a long time, and the thing is, like, for years and years and years, this has been happening. And the crazy thing is that they're gonna want people to forget about this. They're gonna want society to act like this didn't happen. Because I've said this before, I'll say it again, that the label feminism will go away, but the legacy will live on. The legacy will always be there. And the sad thing about it, the absolute sad thing about it, is that guys don't learn their lesson. Now you can see that this guy is like a joker. Like, you can listen to what he's saying. He's talking absolute nonsense. This guy's a joker. But like any man in their right mind that has worked hard for things in their lives, you're not going to mess around with a woman in Western society. You're going to go overseas, all right? You're going to date overseas, you're going to marry overseas, and you're going to start your life overseas. You're not going to mess around in Western society. And this guy is not even taking it serious. And like Myron is like, they're letting him know, like, dude, you have to be careful. You have to be careful. Like, don't be like this guy. Don't mess around. Don't put yourself in that situation at all. Stay away. All right, walk away. Every smart man is walking away, Mouse Utopia style, right now. Okay, the reason why the Mouse Utopia declined and everything, and they eventually the population went to extinction, is because they could not leave. But if they could leave and go to another society, to another society, another mouse society that had not been overpopulated, all the social roles had not been filled yet, guys, things would have been different. They would have started over. I will say this though, it's hard because once they did an experiment. They did the experiment with the Mouse Utopia, and they had the beautiful ones. And if you know about the Mouse Utopia, the beautiful ones were a group of mice who basically all they did was just groom themselves, and they basically withdrew from all social activity. They took, the scientist John Calhoun, he took a group of these mice that basically stopped reproducing, lost interest in intimacy, and he took them and he put them in a new population with other mice to see if they would begin, if they would correct their behavior. And he was furious. He said that they did not change. They would not return to socializing. They would not return to mating. They would never return to engaging again. Like that was the end of it with them. And that's what's going to happen with a lot of dudes in society. A lot of dudes in society are going to go straight up monk, and they will never go back. A Western society is on the decline, and something else is going to have to rise up from the ashes, and that's going to take time, because we're definitely heading we're literally already in the dystopia, and it's only going to get worse from here. It's only going to get worse from here. Like, I really do not have any optimism for Western society at all. Developing societies, yes. Western society, no. And that's, and that's if we make it. Because like right now, you look at the way that the world is, you look at the direction that things are going, especially overseas, and you have to wonder, how are things going? How's the future even going to turn out? If you're smart, you at least have a residency somewhere else. All right. You should have 2 passports if you can, but have a residency somewhere else. Be a resident in another country, because so this way you can always move. You can move around, okay? And you should never depend on just one source of income. This is a fundamental rule. Never depend on just one source of income. You should always have multiple streams of income coming in. All right? multiple streams of income. Never depend on just one stream of income, one source of income. I want you guys to remember that because it is a fundamental. It's a fundamental, guys. Anyway, what do you think about this? Women are furious, men are rejecting them. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. You already know what I think, but I want to hear what you think. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA. And walking away and cheers.